All right, ready or not, we are officially live. It's been a little bit of a break. I got to go on a little bit of a trip with my wife, so we had to adjust the schedule, and but we're back, and we've got a great show. So I'm Joel Jacobs, and as usual, I am joined by Justin, the CEO of Consistency Breeds Growth, the WOD nutritionist, and then always the lovely Gab. She's with us again, and we're glad that she's here with us. She brings some flair to the show for us.
Sure.
She brings the personality.
Sure.
Justin's the CEO of CBG, but I'm the CEO of Flair. So
There you go. All right. Put that on a t-shirt. CEO of Flair. All right. So yeah, we've got a pretty busy show planned. So we're gonna get we've got a client spotlight today. Excited. We're gonna get to meet Emma and talk about her journey with CBG. And she was a client of yours, right, Gab?
yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about that, and she's got some kind of a testimonial to share in that regards. We've got some news that we're going to cover. The Brent Fikowski announcing his retirement. We've got a fun this or that we're going to do with protein bars, and then depending on the time, we might talk about my trip and how I tackled my nutrition plan for it. So and how I did.
I'm just imagining you pulling out a photo album, and this was the slide we went down.
I thought about like taking photos of my food and stuff and sharing them, but then I was like,
It's gonna be an MLM to go on cruises.
Yeah.
Like, sign up.
It becomes like a timeshare thing.
Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So the first thing though is I wanted to bring up our last episode. Where's my tab for it? Got lost in here. All right, here we go. Oh, did you guys hear that? Let me get this ready. All right, so I thought it would be fun to just quickly look at some of the comments because we got some attention on this last episode. It's our highest viewed one. It's around like 240 views right now on YouTube. So I thought that was kind of cool. But I just thought, I was like, hey, we got some spicy comments in here. So I thought it'd be kind of cool maybe to kind of go through this a little bit real quick. I don't want to spend a ton of time. Oh wait, that's not the one I want. There it is. All right. So now I'm not going to read all these because this one guy wrote, which we appreciate the interaction, good or bad, I guess. But this one guy wrote kind of a really long reply, and basically, I think he was just kind of like thinking that there was a couple people that thought that we were like endorsing LMNT, or Element, and I think you were pretty clear, and we were all pretty clear. I thought that the advertisement part of it was wrong. Like they were totally in the wrong for that.
100%.
Yeah. And then you kind of addressed this person said, she was going on about, it wasn't that much, because he said you explained like it was the amount of like a dime or something like that.
Yeah.
And you were like, obviously, if you're allergic, like that would be an issue, and that's why the advertisement part of it was wrong, right?
Yeah.
And then someone said that we were getting paid, insinuated that we were getting paid by Element to.
Please bring it.
Still waiting on that paycheck, everyone. Please.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let me find the one newest comments. All right, Gab, here's your hater.
All right, let's see it.
T Erica 488 says that girl is an idiot. Well,
that's amazing.
You,
First
Erica.
of all, it's what an insinuation to assume she's talking about me. Number one. Number two,
true. Ouch.
Who knows exactly who she was referring to? We have no proof. But number two, I am proud to say that I disagree. However, it's all about context, right? So I'm curious if she thinks I'm an idiot because I was drinking out of a Mets cup. Justin,
Ooh.
maybe she's a friend of yours, or if she thinks I'm an idiot because I perhaps suggested that, maybe it's going to be okay. But either way, I stand by what I said.
That's true.
It could be. Feel free to slide into my DMs.
It could be the Mets cup. Now that you say that, that's true. She was very vague in what she was calling you an idiot for. So Justin might agree with her on that standpoint. I'd be like, yeah, you're right.
It's cool. I'm used to it.
All right. Well, we are open to all the comments and all the criticism. We appreciate
Free speech.
free speech. Absolutely. So, all right. Moving on from that, we will get Emma in here. Let's see. All right, there we are. All right, so we have a client today of Gab's. She did she complete how long ago did she complete the 16-week?
I think she's probably like a week out or so.
Okay, so she's
yeah.
close to being done with the 16 weeks.
Yeah, she's done it. It hasn't been that long. And what an incredible job she did. I'm so excited that we have her today.
All right. Well, I will not delay it any longer then. Let's everybody give it up for Emma. Let's bring Emma in here. Wait, hold on. There she is.
Oh, hi.
What's up, Emma?
I could probably do like a wait, let's see. Can you hear it? There you go. Give it up for Emma. All right, that's enough. Quiet. All
I
right.
was gonna say, does it stop?
All right, Emma, first off, thank you for you're like an hour behind us, so you're kind of up early for us. Or maybe this is your normal routine to be up early. I don't know, but it's like 7 o'clock where you are, right? 7 a.m.
Yep.
All right.
Trooper.
Yeah.
I'm a pretend early bird. I'll regret it by like 10 o'clock.
Can you take a nap?
No, I gotta go to work after this.
Oof.
A nap. All right. Well, I need a third. I think I need 3 monitors because my tabs that I get open here are just like crazy. All right. So first off, you are an hour behind us. So where does that place you?
I am living in Kansas City right now. I just moved here about a year and a half ago.
Okay. What brought you to Kansas City?
I finished my master's last year and then got a job. So shipped me off to make some more money.
Nice. How far away from home is that?
I'm literally just from 3 hours north in Iowa.
Oh, okay. So not too crazy to be able to go visit and visit and stuff. That's cool. So you are, I saw a little bit, and Gab's told me a little bit about you. And so you're CrossFit, right? When did you start CrossFit?
I started CrossFit when I was 16 years old.
Wow. Okay.
So I've been doing it for 8 years now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you're a solid CrossFit.
I'm in. Yeah. They got me.
They got you. How's your body feel after 8 years?
I kind of am starting to realize that, like, yes, I'm young, but I'm old in this sport. I've been doing it a lot longer. So no, nothing major yet, but I'm starting to prioritize that warming up period and stretching out a little bit just so I can make sure that nothing happens and takes me out of the game a little earlier than I plan on it.
Yeah, no, I'm 40 now, and it probably takes me, if I do it right, it's like 20 to 30 minutes of warm up for me now before I feel like I can actually do something intense.
Yeah.
And then, if I teach a high school class, sometimes I coach a high school class. They like show up and they just like immediately, are trying to 1 rep max.
Shirts off, ready to go.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys. So that's awesome. And what was so during those 8 years of CrossFit, like what kind of, because CBG we're all about nutrition, right?
Yeah.
So what was your nutrition like before you started, and then and as kind of like as you started to go through CrossFit and get more involved into it, like was there a shift in how you looked at your nutrition?
Definitely. Nutrition has definitely been a part of like this entire journey as well. So like when I started, I was still living at home. I had, my home cooked meals that were, basically a protein, a veggie, a carb. And it all just tasted good because it was my mom who was making it and not me. So I would say up until college, that's kind of where things started to get a little tricky. And you go off to college and you have the dining hall and it's all good food and there's soft serve ice cream everywhere and they're giving out free food every day. Definitely put on some weight that first semester. and realized, okay, I don't want to look like this. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to buy all new clothes. So I decided to try out, can I say it? RP. A lot of the ladies at my old gym in high school were on it, and it worked for them. It looked awesome. So that's where I was introduced to tracking macros. And I did that for a really long time. I basically did that until this summer. I tried to do that. But what ended up happening was I would get through a cut, I'd lose some weight, and then I'd try to go back onto maintenance, and I'd be like, I'm not measuring anything. And I'd gain it all back right away. And then just keep going through this cycle of cutting, being miserable, and then gaining it all back. And then I did grad school as well. So food is definitely comfort for me. So that's where at that point, I was like, I need to get through this schooling. So you need to eat whatever makes you get through the day. So I did a lot of stress and binge eating to finish that up, which got me through. We got there. But when I moved here, I was like, it's time to rein things in a little bit. So I did another cut with RP, lost a little bit of weight. I was the heaviest I had ever been when I moved down here. So I'm actually 15 pounds down in the last year and a half or so. Most of that being with CBG. But yeah, and then I realized this summer, I'm like, I am so tired of having an anxiety attack every time I go out to dinner and I can't measure all my food because I'm in a new city. I have awesome friends that I want to hang out with. And, you know, a lot of that involves going out and trying restaurants or making snacks with my friends, just stuff like that, that I'm like, I need to figure out how to be okay with not tracking my macros. Yeah. So I ended up here.
There you go. That's awesome. So you started CrossFit really young. Were you involved in other athletics, prior to that?
I did competitive dance pretty much all of my life. And then I did a couple sports. I did volleyball all through high school. I did track for a couple years. I actually quit track to continue to do CrossFit. I never did any winter sports. So we found CrossFit, did that for the winter. That was the plan. And then I'd go back to track. I ran that first 400-meter warm up of the first track practice that following spring and got in my car and left and went to CrossFit. So you're like, I want to go to that's CrossFit. Always been yes, I fell in love with CrossFit so much that I hate running, and I still do. But
all right. And then what about so it sounds like the tracking the macros. Now this is me making an assumption. You can correct me if I'm not hearing this right. But it sounded like tracking the macros made your relationship with food worse.
For sure.
And so beforehand, when you talked about like just eating your mom's home cooking, like, did you even really think about food?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So you were very active. You just ate when you were hungry and kind of, just had a normal.
When you start learning about kind of like the math and the science behind all of it, and I'm an engineer, so I'm very math and science brains. That's how I think. But when I started realizing that there's all this math behind it of like, oh, I burned this many calories, I need to fuel with this many calories, but I want to lose weight, so we need to eat less and blah, 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 blah. And then I know I can measure these things out. It got too analytical and it stopped fueling me properly, especially when you realize like fats versus carbs and what you think you want versus what you actually need, especially at, I was young when I started tracking macros. I was 19. I wasn't really well-versed in that yet.
So you'd been in CrossFit for a while. So you were pretty performance focused at that point. Did you ever have any like body image, like issues that came along with that though, eventually, like with the tracking and,
for sure.
Body image, and I want to look like this, but I also want to perform. And how did that kind of fuel into the issues with tracking the macros?
It was always a battle because I've always been, luckily I haven't plateaued or anything yet for doing this as long as I have. So I'd always be like, I just don't look super toned, or I don't have all these giant muscles, but look at what I can do in the gym. I'm lifting this number of for deadlift. I can do muscle ups now. I can do handstand walking. I can't run fast, but who cares? And so it was always not so much I hate what I look like, but it was always a battle of like, okay, you don't really like how you look, but look at what you can do, and you need to appreciate that. So it was definitely like a weird one to have to navigate.
All right. So then what brought, so you were with, you did RP for a while. What piqued your interest about CBG? Like, how did you find out about it? How did you find it?
You snagged me on the Instagram ads.
Oh, there you go. Got her.
No brand.
Well, DB, she's my favorite CrossFit athlete. I love her content. I love following her. I love seeing what she has to see. And I saw that she was working with you guys, and I'd followed CBG on Instagram, and then got a message of, hey, why are you following us? Like, what's up? And I'm like, oh man, maybe you should actually take advantage of this. Because I was definitely a pivotal moment where I'm like, I can't keep doing this macros thing. So it was definitely a right place, right time situation.
So definitely that the whole message of, hey, you can do this without tracking your macros, that like went off for you, like big buzz lights and like ding 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 ding.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Awesome. So then what were your goals coming into it when you first started working with Gab?
Truthfully, my goals were literally just to figure out how to be okay with not tracking macros. I really didn't care if I lost weight. I really didn't care if, like, I knew my performance would probably go up, but I was like, that's not my priority here. I just want to be able to go out to dinner and not freak out. And I want to say yes to going out to dinner and all of that. That said, we did like kind of prioritize it. So it was basically, number one is we're going to figure out how to not track macros. Number two, we're going to lose some weight doing it. And number three, we're going to see that our performance is going up as well, instead of just staying the same.
Yeah, that's awesome. To me, that is such a cool aspect to your story, that your top goal wasn't even performance based. It wasn't even, weight based. It was just to heal mentally.
I'm like, I'm 24. I need to learn how to eat without having an anxiety attack. Like,
oh my goodness,
I have so much left in my life to freak out about other things. Let's learn how to eat like a human being.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. Gab, what were your like first impressions of Emma and her goals?
I thought it was so refreshing that Emma was like, I'm not here to lose weight. I'm not here because I'm trying to go to the CrossFit Games. Like, I just want to be able to be social and happy. And, because we get a lot of people that are like, either I want to lose 50 pounds or I want to be able to handstand walk 1,000 feet unbroken. Like, there's a lot of really, really big goals, which is great. And I love helping people accomplish those goals. But with Emma, it was like, no, I want to like be happy. I want to be okay with going to a restaurant. I want to be able to hang out with my friends and not feel guilty. And that work is so much more deeply rooted in like self-love and self-care, and it's so much more interesting to do that work, I think, for me, than it is to just be like, all right, well, if you want to lose some weight, we're going to start you with with this food, and then we're going to take it back to this food, and then voila, right, it's going to happen. And I think the best part about working with Emma was that we did it. Like, we really did. And, Emma would recap for me and be like, yeah, I really, really well today. And I did this and that. And I made this new recipe. And then I went out for ice cream with my friends. And look, I lost another pound. It was unbelievable. And I really felt like if I were to go back through our messages to one another, or like if I could go back and watch our meetings, you really did blossom into someone who had so much more confidence, not just in the gym and not just like in life, but in terms of food choices and going out places and being able to, be a very well-rounded, holistic person. And I could not be more proud of you, because there's no anxiety, there's no stress. It's really just like, Emma is an athlete, and Emma is really proud of her body and her physique and her habits. And Emma also goes to the baseball game and has a hot dog and, gets an ice cream, or goes to a new place and tries something new. Like, it's amazing to see. And it's something that I think everybody needs to strive for.
Yeah, no, I think it's such an awesome, I love how it like went from Danielle Brandon being like what kind of like captured you in, right? And seeing her perform and maybe even seeing her physique or something and seeing like, oh, like she looks great. But then transforming your goal to being like, I just need to be mentally free from not tracking macros anymore. I love that kind of like arc to your story.
Yeah.
Justin, you got to be loving hearing this, right? I mean, that's your message of this.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing that we live and stand by, So I'm glad that it's always good to know that like our system, when implemented correctly, actually does what we say that it's going to do, right? And that you don't also need to sacrifice one thing to achieve another. Like you don't need to like perform less to lose weight, or like, I don't know, destroy your relationship with food to get lean. Like you can really do all three things at one time, right? Look at that hot dog.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Man, nothing like a ballpark hot dog with, slathered in mustard. Man, I love that.
We won't talk about the Royals though.
How is that?
Look, Bobby Witt at the MVP season, so you can't
He's
be
pretty
mad
great.
about that. Yeah, he's a beast.
So yeah, how do you deal with Gabs, and her Mets?
We had a pact at the end of the season. Yeah. We were on the same page by the end.
Yeah. Well, my dad followed the
Reds are
Mets
horrible.
growing up, so if it wasn't going to be the Royals, it was going to be the Mets, and then it was none of them. So great season for me.
Yeah. No, I jumped on the Met bandwagon for Gab too, because the Reds are terrible, and I'm in Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. And we have LA De La Cruz. That's about the only exciting thing we have to watch in Cincinnati, is watch him blaze around the bases. So you compete a lot. What like how has the not tracking macros helped you in competing?
Yeah, no, I remember I did the first one I did this summer. Gab, I was still working with Gab, so she kind of put me through like, okay, you're just gonna have like a handful of sour watermelon right before, like 15 minutes before your event. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, do you want me to bring like protein powder? Like, what do I gotta do to get through this? And I was like, okay, no, that's awesome. We'll run with it. And fueling for that day, I remember it was awesome because I'm like, I don't feel like starving, but I'm not super full, which is never good for competing. So like I felt good the entire day, and I implemented it for this one too, and it just felt so good. And fueling like beforehand, like just eating, getting down to the weight that I'm at, I definitely think I've grown a lot in the past 4 months. My fitness has gotten a lot better, which is nice to see pay off in these competitions.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a cool video of you guys. Is that who you always partner with? Or
yeah, that's Shelby. She's my best friend, and I depend on her for all the Instagram posts.
She gonna sign up or
stuff.
What we doing?
You gotta get a referral for Shelby.
Shelby does good. Shelby has a good relationship with food. Be like Shelby.
All right, good deal. Yeah, no, I watched this video and I was like, man, this is a good video.
Yeah.
Good.
Emma, during our time together, did you also PR your deadlift?
Yeah, so we just are finishing up. It's our deload week this week. So next week we'll retest our maxes. I PR'd my deadlift by 5 pounds at 340. So I was down 10 pounds and PR'd by 5.
Nice.
And I just PR'd my front and back squat last week. So,
Nice.
in the middle of a cycle. I still have 2 weeks left. So,
Oh my God.
Nice.
Carbs, baby.
yes, it's amazing. I love that.
What was this looks like something exciting. Did you PR something here or what?
Yes. So that was that summer competition that we did. It was all supposed to be outside, and so we ended up having a rain delay. So the last event was a weightlifting thing where it was just max hang, clean, and jerk. It was super dramatic only to us, but I'll tell the story. So we had been rain delayed for like an hour and a half, maybe 2. I also had no service this entire day, so no one knows where I am. And we finally get to go and lift, and they didn't tell us if we needed to like pick up, when it's like 10 seconds left and you're like, okay, do we need to finish the lift, or if we just pick up the bar, is that okay, and then finish it? So we didn't know, so we assumed we need to get it in under the time cap. So Shelby leaves me 10 seconds left on the board to PR my hang, clean, and jerk at 190. I had never cleaned 190 at all. So we were surprised, first of all, that I did it, and that I did it with only 10 seconds left to pick up the bar. Dropped the bar, and they snagged that picture. I was like, that's going to be a good one when I saw that he was
great picture
back there.
Man, 190 hang clean.
Great.
I don't even know if I could do that right now. With my 40-year-old back. That's awesome. What a cool story.
Yeah.
Did you catch it in the full squat?
Nope.
Power clean.
I haven't been able to squat over 185, but with the way this front squat cycle is going, I'm thinking we're gonna make a run for it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm so proud of you.
That was because you said that you had already been working with Gab at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it was the watermelon.
Yes.
That got you the 190.
Family pack of watermelon.
Nice. That's an awesome story. Very cool. So what's where do you go now? Like, what's the goal moving forward? You're kind of through your 16 weeks, and do you feel good, like to where you're just like totally free now from counting macros? Are there still things that you still kind of struggle with here and there?
I do feel pretty good. Sometimes I'll catch myself and I'm like, I wonder how much this is, or like, just being on the inquisitive side of it. But I think I'm coming out of what's it called, where I back out of it. So the reverse. So I'm still reversing out to maintenance. But I just feel like I'm conscious of food, but in a much healthier way. That just allows me to just kind of pick and choose what's going to be on my plate and enjoy it. And it's definitely, So right now my focus is kind of just like, okay, let's work back to maintenance and see if I can maintain this weight loss that I've had and continue to grow in the gym and, hit these PRs next week. And I've even had people comment on my cardio getting better, which is a big one for me, because I'll never work on that. But that's just going to have to happen. So it's definitely, I'm just kind of settling into, okay, this is how it is now. Let's make this, just keep pounding it into my head that this is okay and that this is cool and this is going to allow me to live my life the way that I want to live it right now.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think that's awesome. I love your story, Emma. Like, I think that's just so cool of how you came into CBG and then just like what your goal and focus was on. And then the other stuff happened by default. Like, you got leaner and you got PRs, you performed better, but that wasn't even your focus. I love that. I think that is an awesome story. Thank you for coming here and sharing it with us. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. I'd love to share that this really does work. It's not a hoax.
There you go. We'll end it right on that. I think that's the perfect way to end it. So thanks again, Emma. And hey, awesome story. Good job, Gab.
Good job, Emma.
Great job, Emma.
Guys.
Thanks for coming.
All right. We'll see you later. Man, that is cool. That
Yeah,
is
She
really
crushed
cool.
She crushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to do more of those spotlights.
Absolutely. I'm
And
like,
we have hundreds of people, probably maybe thousands that we could do that with, to be honest.
and you gotta clip that. Like you gotta clip some of that or something and man,
Yeah.
get that story out. Like that is just an amazing.
Yeah.
I can't even. I'm just like so excited about like when I get done with like an awesome interview or something like that, I get like amped up, and I'm just like, man, like that was so good. Like I just love her story.
Yeah, she did really good. Proud
She's
of her.
amazing.
All right, let me shuffle us around here a little bit. And there we go. All right, so let's move on to Mr. Brent Fikowski. I always like want to mess up his name for some reason. Let me get this up. All right. So Brent Fikowski, he's been around for a while. He officially announced that he's retiring from individual competition, which is a big deal because he's been around for a long time and he's been kind of up and down, but mostly kind of a top athlete for the most part.
Yeah.
And so the Rogue Invitational says is going to be his last individual competition, and he is going to focus his attention on the PFAA. So I just wanted to bring it up for reactions.
Well, he's been at the top of the sport for a really long time. I think he's a really good guy. I got to actually meet him and chat with him at the Wadapalooza in SoCal versus US versus the world. He took Lazar's spot on the world team. And he's just a fierce, amazing competitor. He pushes his body to the absolute limits. His biggest chance at winning was this past year. Literally could have gone any way the last couple of events. And that's the thing, it's like, man, he's still at the top. Like he's still got it. And he's walking away from competition. So I think that's the only thing for me that warrants like, well, what else is on the table for Brent in terms of how he can continue to chase the podium and be at the top. But I knew his responsibilities even before everything happened this year at the CrossFit Games, that he was really working hard on the PFAA stuff, like really busting his butt, trying to work hard on that to professionalize the sport more. And so I think you can't do two things at one time.
Right.
Like you can't like, I can't be the CEO of CBG and then also like try to be a competitive CrossFit Games athlete. It won't work. Something will give. It's not possible. Right.
Yeah.
And this is a lesson for a lot of you out there, but business owners, entrepreneurs, athletes, you got to do one thing. You can't do two things. You can't do two things at 100%. It's not possible. I know I can. You fucking can't. You can't do one. You can't. You straight up can't. Like they're just going to be two mediocre things you end up doing. And so I think that's what he's feeling. He knows that. He's very smart, very, very intelligent. One of the highest IQ athletes on the floor and also probably in life, and knows that if he's going to focus on a PFA, he can't continue to compete at the level that he's competing at. But all respect to Brent, legend, Hall of Fame CrossFit athlete.
Yeah, I hope that we still see him compete at some point, whether it's on a team. I think as like the newer generation comes in, we're going to be seeing a lot of these OGs sort of, hop into team competitions. Not that it's like, no big deal, but like comparatively so. I'd love to see that. And I just think he has really found his calling in this. And I hope that he continues to pursue it. I hope that it is fruitful. And that he, can make an impact on the sport that's even bigger than just being a competitor. But I agree with you, Justin. I think seeing him still at the top has been incredible. My favorite Brent Fikowski moment was Miami Wadapalooza at the beginning of this year when they were doing a walking lunge workout. It was toward the end of the competition, and it was he and Ricky Garrard neck and neck, and he came out and he managed to win that event. It was unbelievable. You're just looking at him like, this guy has been around forever and he's crushing these young guys. It was so good.
That
And
was
I just
probably
I wish him the best.
yeah, that was probably an example of the professor part, right? Where he probably like just planned that workout perfectly to where he could have that last little bit at the end to take him.
Yeah.
All right, what do you guys think about this then? Get it up here. So this is Andrew Hiller. He's never shied away from a hot take.
Nah.
So he claims that he retired because Dave Castro was not removed from his position on the sport team.
No.
Mm-mm.
I don't think so. Decent take by Hiller on this. I'm not sure of Fikowski's position. I know it was the PFAA in general. Fikowski is a big part of that, so it could be that was Fikowski's also, thought process is that he wants Dave to be removed, and it was part of that vote that opted for it. But no, Brent's not that type of guy. I think it has nothing to do with that. Like I said before, I think the main reason he knows he can't focus on both things at once. Can't focus on the PFA and the games and be successful at both.
Yeah.
So that's it. But I mean, decent take by Hiller here. Just not. I don't think that this is why at all.
I also think that he's got to feed his family, right? You don't get a little bit of an ego bruise or whatever he's suggesting and then say, well, I'm not doing it anymore. Like, it's just not that simple, right? These are complicated decisions that you have to make. And they're going to impact, again, like how you pay your bills, how you feed your family, how you, continue as a person. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think if he were really that simple, there's no way that he would just retire from the thing that he's been doing to put food on his table.
Yeah. This makes a pretty bold assumption that like Fikowski has this like larger ego around not getting something that he wants. Fikowski, if Dave stays part of sport and head of sport, Fikowski will work directly with Dave. Right now. Will work directly with Dave as someone still on the PFA, which is to be determined, or directly hired by CrossFit as a consultant will work directly with Dave. That's how low the lack of the egocentric Fikowski is. He's just not like that,
Yeah.
He will work directly with Dave, even though he called for him to be removed.
Gotcha.
For the sport to be better.
I didn't see this comment before, but Jason Hopper is kind of coming to his defense here. He says, false. Brent told me he was going to retire after the games long before the PFAA released any request. So
yeah, there you go. It's pretty straightforward. Look at the replies on that.
Hiller says, you say that like the thought to ask for his removal wasn't in his head before posting it.
Yeah, I don't really
the
get
thought for his removal before he would have told Hopper before the game. Like, he wasn't going to call for his removal until Lazar died. So that doesn't make any sense.
It's a shame how this happened. I've been a huge fan of Brent, so I'd imagine he would have continued competing had the games played out differently this year. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you never know, right? Like there are certain things that change things all the time, right? Like if Brent would have won, maybe he did decide and change his mind to come back. But I don't think this is two separate incidents, not a causation thing, right? Like this is a separate thing than Brent competing. I don't think this affected Brent's decision. I think the fact that there was a tragedy at the games could have affected Brent's decision to retire, right? I think that the fact that he didn't podium could have affected it. I think that there are several other things, but I don't think that this was like the straw on the camel's back that's like, oh, they didn't remove Dave. Screw this. I'm out of here. Because he's still going to be affiliated with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's going to try to improve it. So it just that doesn't make sense to me,
Yeah. The only thing that's not clear about what Jason's comment here is when did Brent say that to him? Did he say that before the games? And he was like, the way that he worded it was that he already knew that he was going to retire after the games, so it was like before the games even happened. He just wasn't clear on how he worded that, I guess.
And he
Yeah,
competed at Wadapalooza, like, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. But
All right. Julie says it was pretty well documented that Brent has been wanting to be more involved and fully take on his role in the PFAA. He
Yeah.
said it in interviews for a long time, long before the games.
yeah,
So
that's been a passion for him for sure.
Yeah. I also think like it's not shocking that someone who's been around for this long and has competed this hard would want to retire. Like it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot on your body, it's a lot on your mind, it's a lot when you have children. I don't think that we're far off from seeing a lot of people in that generation starting to call it, you know?
Well, he's like 33, 34 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Getting into his mid-30s. And he did say in the post that like that's what it was about. Like he wants to be able to turn all of his focus to what his passion is, which apparently is currently the PFAA. So
Yeah.
so all good with that. Now, all right. So then the last kind of part of that whole situation then is the PFAA, and what are the reactions to what's been happening with that and what's next for it? Like, you know, do you think they have any leverage on this situation?
Leverage in what way?
In the request that they made, you know, 2 months ago or whenever that was, they put out those requests. And then what his goal is in professionalizing the sport more.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have leverage in being able to accomplish that goal, like against CrossFit HQ, right?
Yeah. Well, I think Brent working full time on this is going to be a good thing. I don't know if this is what Brent has decided to do is going to affect Dave Castro's decision to be removed from sport at all. I don't think that that's going to matter much. That's for Dave to decide and how much accountability he wants to take for it. And what CrossFit decides to do. But PFA is going to have to work together with CrossFit regardless. So it's not the PFA against CrossFit. I think that they're going to have to work together regardless, you know? So it's going to be up to them to figure it out. But that's my thoughts.
All right. Gab, you got anything about it?
I just think CrossFit is going to end up doing whatever is going to make CrossFit the most money. So if it means working with the PFAA to make these athletes happy so they show up and compete and, you know, it increases the sponsorships and the viewership and all, like, I just don't think it's a lot of feelings. I think it's just dollar signs. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100% agree with that. And that's why I like, as an observer of the sport, as someone that has enjoyed following it, I don't think that the PFA has much influence, as much influence as they want, and I don't see a path. Like you said, it certainly will help that he can focus his full attention on it, but currently I don't see a path in changing that for them to where they can gain some sort of leverage against CrossFit to somewhat force them into the things that they want, the request or demands or whatever they have, however you want to frame it. I just don't think they have much of a leg to stand on, unfortunately. It's not because I don't like the PFA or what they want to do. I just think that's the reality of the situation for them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to this or that.
This or
I'm
that.
excited for this.
All right. So
Let's
we're
do
going to do protein bars. Hopefully this thing that I set up works correctly. If not, we'll just have to abandon it and move on. But all right, I'm gonna have to move some of these things around here. Let's go with, all right, let me get it shared. All right, do we want to do that? Let's do, I like the other view better. All right, so I got kind of like a bracket style here. So the first set, so it's kind of like setting them up versus, you know, one versus the other, and then we'll kind of whittle it down to our final winner, I guess.
Mhm.
To do it that way. So we've got first one up is we have Snickers high protein versus an RX bar. Oh, you know what else I have too? So Snickers high protein RX bar. Let me see.
Yeah, do we have the facts?
Yeah, hold on. Let me where'd they go? Oh, window. I gotta do window. All right. Here we go. All right. Oh, can you see that? All right. So
So I'll just lean in really close here.
yeah, it's like clearer on my screen.
That's okay.
So just tell us the protein content and the sugar
All right.
content.
So you've got in one serving, I guess, one bar, you've got 13 grams of fat,
Uh-huh.
36 carbs,
Mhm.
and 36 protein.
Damn, that's actually a lot. This is like a fucking mass gainer bar, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to figure out the-
This is a mass gainer bar. Like they just added more. Like a regular Snickers was already the same before. Then they added protein to it. So this is like
Yeah.
a mass gainer bar.
It's
Oh,
like
wait.
400 calories.
It has to be at about 400.
Well,
Close.
okay. So I'm trying to figure out what because it says on this side right here, this says 55 grams, and then
Uh-huh.
it has 20 grams, which is what is here on the
Still
label.
the same idea. It's still like almost 300 calories, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is probably a single bar. I don't know how big this bar is. Probably the size of a regular Snickers bar. And
Yep.
then you have the king size, which is the one on the left, right?
Yeah.
This is a mass gainer bar, dude. This is a crap ton of calories. So it just depends on your goal and purpose. Decent amount of sugar, right? Looks like
17 grams of sugar.
17 grams for the king size, and then probably not 10.
Oh,
for the-
9.5.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Which honestly, not that bad.
yeah, it's not
Not
as
for
bad as I
nothing.
thought it was going to be.
No.
And total carbs come from the peanuts and comes from other things too, right? So it's less sugar than I thought. Okay. I think I have a good sense of what this is. And then it's
Yeah.
versus a RX bar, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And do you have any issues with the protein sources? So
The isolate, no, protein isolate's great. Protein
Yep.
blend is fine. Whey protein concentrate. I mean, the protein blend is going to have like lactose and it's like the least purest form of protein, but it is what it is. They're not going to put some freaking crazy high grade protein in a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, you know?
all right. So here is the RX bar.
210, so 100 less calories.
Mhm. 4
Total
grams of fat
sugars.
less.
What's the total sugar on this?
Let me
13?
13.
find the thing here.
That's from the fruit though, right? Like, isn't there? Oh, this is the chocolate sea salt.
Yeah.
It has
Chocolate.
8.
Cacao.
Dude,
I'll tell you what though.
I'm
I
going-
always look. Go ahead.
I'm going with the Snickers bar, dude. I'm going with the
Same.
Snickers protein bar.
Same.
It's just, yeah, like more protein. The sugar, especially for the volume, is less. The fat is a little bit higher, but that's the peanuts. I mean, it is what it is. I'm gonna go with the Snickers bar, dude. Honestly.
Let me tell you what I don't like. This is 12. The ratio of protein to fat is always
Mhm.
the first thing that I look for. And
Yeah.
for 12 grams of protein for 9 grams of fat, give me what was it? 36 grams of protein for 17 grams of fat. Like that's
13
that's
grams.
almost like a 2-to-1.
Yeah.
It's way better.
The only disadvantage of the Snickers is it is more calories in general, but the ratios are better and the sugar is lower. I'm going with
But
the
that's
Snickers
going to be
bar.
like a meal replacement versus
100%. It's gonna be a meal
versus
replacement.
this is like a snack.
Like you do not need like a banana, a Snickers bar, and a yogurt all at the same. You need just the Snickers bar.
Yep.
That's it for your snack. You know.
Yeah.
All right, Snickers bar takes it. Damn.
Snickers bar was the
Yeah.
dark horse.
RX is out off the jump.
I feel like RX is never worth it. I'm sorry. I know people love them, but like
Yeah,
you're
they
not
taste
really
good.
getting anything out of
But
it.
the
I don't know.
Snickers bar is also going to taste good. I mean, it's a Snickers bar. So like
Yeah.
I didn't think we didn't factor in taste here, but
Yeah.
it's a Snickers bar. I mean,
Yeah. Well, and that's for me, that's probably because like protein bars and stuff, they're like, I don't know, they're like chalky to me. I prefer picking a whole food and making it fit into my blueprint better,
yeah.
just because I just think it just tastes better for me. So
Yeah.
some people might think that one fits easier into their blueprint, and they would just rather take the Snickers or whatever these other bars. They don't care about the taste, but I kind of like the whole food part of it. All right. So we got. All right. So I got Snickers moved on to the next round. So then we'll come down here to pure protein versus Bearbell. I think is what it was called, right?
Yep, Bear Bells.
All right. So
Dude, those pure proteins taste terrible.
I agree.
They're not that good. Their ratios are good, but they don't taste that good. And the Bear Bells are.
Those are like candy bars.
Yeah.
Show us the
ratio on the Bear Bells.
Take me to the facts. I think it's like 20 to 7.
20 to 7. And what about the carb? Equal, which is pretty standard for a
1 to
protein bar.
1, 2 to 1.
And then what about the other one? This we
we
have down. I know those ratios.
I love the Bear Bells. I'll tell you what though, they're not very filling. They're not like hefty.
Yeah, they're not.
I like a little heft.
Yeah, you need that in a yogurt, something like
Yeah.
that at the same time.
Oh, there it is. I was like, where is it at? All right.
And then the pure protein is probably 14 carbs. So the ratio is a little bit better, but they don't. The little bit of extra, I'm going to take the Bear Bells.
I
It's just
totally
the
agree.
taste, like just crushes this taste.
And I also think
Oh yeah, that's right. So I apologize. Go ahead.
I think sometimes having a 1-to-1 ratio of carb to protein is going to be helpful if you're eating it pre-workout also. Should give you a little bit more energy, a little bit of a buzz, right? And sometimes that is going to come from sugar, like that's whatever. But I think if it tastes like shit, what are we doing here? And B, use it pre-workout. Get a little glycogen in there.
Yeah, get it.
The ratio 6 grams of fat to 20 grams of protein though, wouldn't that fit into your ratio, like a good ratio though?
Yeah, we want it
the
to be like
ratios are good. It just tastes terrible.
Tastes horrible.
and Bear Bells is 20 to 7, right? So it's like
not
for
that
the
bad.
extra gram of fat.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
I don't want it to feel like I'm eating a brick.
Yeah,
All righty.
Bear Bells is the winner.
Looks like Bear Bells is moving on.
Yeah.
Get this out of the way.
How long until someone accuses us of being paid by Hershey's?
Yeah, seriously.
Or sorry, Mars. See, I don't even know where my money's coming from anymore.
Does Mars make Bear Bells too, or is it
no? But the Snickers.
Okay.
People are gonna lose their ever loving minds.
All right, so Bear Bells is on to the next round. All right, let's jump over here now we've got First Form versus Go Macro.
These Go Macros kill me.
Yeah, I don't know the Go Macro. I know obviously the First Form bars.
Why does the Go Macro kill you?
Well, pull up the nutrition label, Joel, and I'll tell you.
All right.
11 fat. Go ahead.
1 to 1. It is the equal amounts of protein and fat. Your carbs are like 39. It's
this ain't a
out of
protein bar.
control.
It's a candy bar.
This is a candy bar. This is worse than
Go
the goddamn
Macro.
Snickers bar.
Boo. 292 on that. All right, I already know.
Wild.
I'm going with the First Form.
First, you gotta.
You don't even have to look at the label of First Form.
No.
I mean, pull it up for our friends at home. But yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's like 11 grams of fat, 20 grams of protein, and like 26 grams of carbs or something. It's a better pre-workout than post-workout.
13, 19, 20. Yeah. Taking the First Form.
Yeah,
Easy,
you got to go.
easy one.
And I'll say this, the First Form bars feel like more satiating. They tend to be much more dense. So you're going to feel a little bit more full versus like the Bear Bells where it's like, all right, this tastes good, but
a lot of ingredients in here though.
a lot of ingredients.
A lot of preservatives, propylene glycol monoesters, those are all preservatives, potassium sorbate, soy lecithin, cultivated dextrose, all those silicon dioxide, all preservatives, every single one.
Interesting though, does say the word beet.
Beet, just beet.
Beet, singular beet, one beet.
Where do you see that?
Second to last line, it says cultured dextrose, palm kernel oil, beet.
Okay.
It's a lot of preservatives in there.
Just one beet, not
xanthan gum. That's a sweetener.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. Caramel color.
All right. So maybe the choice isn't as clear as you thought.
Well, no, this is the
No, it's
winner,
better than
but
the Go Macro.
yeah, it's gluten free too, which is good for those who have celiac and gluten sensitivity. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was thinking you were going to pick this one just because the other one had macro in the name, and we're like, it's like a trigger word, right? Like,
yeah.
All right, let's get this out of the way. All right, so clicky.
What's our last roundup here?
All right, so that one goes up there. All right, so I threw these in here because you only sent me 6. And I'm like, well, I need 8 to
This
make
is
it right. So I've got these are Aldi brands. I like to shop at Aldi.
Mhm.
So this is an Elevation Max, which after looking at it, it's very similar to an RX bar, I think.
I've never seen
And then
this.
their version of high protein bars is what is all the label says.
I love when they call it high protein. I'll be the judge of that. Thank you.
Exactly. All right. So let me bring up here's the Max first. Ooh, you're not gonna like that ratio.
Nope.
10 grams, 12. That's not looking good. What about the other one? 210.
Also says may contain pits or shells. No, thank you.
You just gotta crunch it up a little bit. It's all good.
My dentist is gonna hate that.
High protein. Oh, this one's hard to see.
11, 20, 31 grams of carbs.
It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. 290 though. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, that's big.
All right. So here's the thing too: is the protein sources are all soy.
Protein blend soy.
How do you
What
feel
about
about
the
that?
other one? Soy protein isolate. What about the other? Does it? I'll go with the other one if it's not soy.
It was egg whites.
Interesting.
I'm gonna
Say
go
more.
with the other one. We need a lower protein bar in there just as a filler to move on to the next round. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Good.
Cool.
I'm glad you picked that one, Justin, because when I shop at Aldi's, I get the Max bars. I don't get the high protein bar. Sorry, Gab.
Interesting. How come I didn't know that?
I like it. Well, actually, you did know that. Remember when I was getting ready for the summer camp?
Yes.
For the youth.
Yes.
And I was like, you know, I said, hey, I found these protein bars. And you were like, go with the higher one. I'm like, it's all soy protein, though. I don't want that. I was like, whatever. I'm just going to use this and factor in the fat.
You said, hey, what should I do? And I said, do this. And you said, no.
I was like, I don't want to.
Love when that happens.
I was such a good compliant client. All right. My favorite. Moving on. Max. Okay. So we've got Snickers.
All right. Let's look at this other side first.
Right side.
What's that? That's the first form
versus my Aldi Max.
Come on. All right. It's the first form.
It's got to be first form. Yeah. I mean, the other bar is you're not really getting much out of it. Here, is it ideal? Is it like the healthiest thing you could eat? No, I'm sure if you ate a fruit, a vegetable, you know, a lean source of protein, you'd be better off. But in terms of protein bars, it's more satiating. It's got better ratios. And it's going to make you feel full. It's a good pre-workout protein bar.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so then the last test for me, then I'll have to get one of the first form and do a taste test and see if I can handle the taste versus that one. All right. Snickers versus Bear Bells.
This is a tough one. So I want to start, if nobody minds, by saying like a blanket statement. It depends. Like that's kind of the answer for everything. It depends. If you are looking to lose weight, then it's probably not the Snickers bar for you because of how high it is in calories. It's very dense, and you know, those things can be filling for a little while, but there's a lot of sugar. It's going to digest quickly. You're going to be hungry again. If you're looking to gain mass, well, it's not a terrible way to go. But I think if we're going overall, just best recommendations.
7-20-20. It's like a classic split.
I gotta go Bear Bells.
Yeah. 30.
Wow.
I'm gonna go Bear Bells as well. I think it's just more all encompassing. And
it says down here at the bottom, excessive consumption may cause a laxative effect.
Yeah. That's just like sugar alcohols in general, I think.
Yeah.
Maltitol. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's saying due to maltitol. Maltitol. You guys risking diarrhea?
I mean,
Or
yeah, don't eat 7 of them in a
yeah,
day.
don't eat fun. Yeah, just
I think anything will make you shit your pants if you eat too much of it at once.
All right, so we're going with barbells, but let's look at the ratios between barbells and first form, and let's see what we got here. And
All right. Do you need me to bring barbells back up?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's real. Well, barbells is what 9, 20, 20, right?
I
And
think
possible
so.
chance of diarrhea.
Right.
And what is the first
7,
one?
20, 20.
200
7,
calories.
Yeah, bring a spare pair of underwear, but 7, 20, 20.
7, 20.
And then first form.
First form is 13,
13,
19, 20.
19, 20. So really what we're talking about here, if we remove the ingredient label for a second, we're talking about a few more calories from fat. We're talking about a bit of a denser bar.
Mhm.
Everything else is like almost the same. So really it's like 6 grams of fat is what we're talking about.
Mhm.
So some of the barbells protein source is also so it has a milk protein blend, but then it also has some soy protein isolate.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm going with
Maltitol is the
barbells.
next ingredient.
I'm going with barbells.
There's no warning on here that this could make you shit your pants, though.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not enough.
Yeah.
They just have to put that.
God, anecdotally, I prefer the first form bars over the barbells because they're more filling. However, strictly looking at the label, if I remove my personal preferences, I would probably agree it's barbells.
Barbells is the winner.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
I use those for comps for almost all my athletes too.
Yeah.
It's a good
And they
one.
taste good too.
Huh?
And they taste good too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they taste good.
They're delicious.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
where do you get those at? Do you get do they have those at like Whole Foods or something?
At the store. Just
You
go
can
to the
get-
store.
Any
go to
grocery store?
Gas
Just go to the
station,
store.
have them everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, they're everywhere. There are ads for them on the subway now.
Really? I'd
Yeah.
never heard of them. When you sent it to me, I was like, huh, what's this one?
Yeah. That's
All right, I
Ohio
got a
for you.
call at 9. You guys want to do the cruise?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you got time, Gab.
All right, you guys go for it. Good episode, team.
All right.
You
We'll
guys
see
on the
you
next one. Later.
See you next time.
All right.
All right, Joel, don't embarrass me.
All right, we'll move on to my cruising blueprint. Don't embarrass you. You're funny. I would never. All right, so I told you before I left that my plan was to focus on what my original maintenance blueprint was.
Yeah.
And so that was like 2 protein servings a meal, and I think like 2 to 3 carbs per meal, and like 2 to 3 fats per meal.
Okay.
I think was the breakdown for those.
Seem to not be pointing out the veggies, but that's fine.
Yeah, I thought you weren't gonna remember that part.
Yeah, no.
So yes, there were like 2 to 3 veggies in each one of those too as well.
Okay.
So, but that was probably my biggest struggle through the whole thing was veggies because I'm more of a Ron Swanson type. I don't know if you ever watched Parks and Rec.
Oh, please,
but,
of course.
But yeah, when I would send Gab my my stuff, it would always be, and here's some rabbit food is what I would always call it. Because I love the one where he's like, "Sir, would you like a salad?" And he's like, "Well, I'm not a rabbit, so no." So that's me. I'm Ron Swanson. But I did force some green stuff in as much as I could tolerate, I guess. But so
now, give me
ahead.
a little bit of context here. You're on a cruise. Is this like an all-you-can-eat situation, like a buffet style or like a restaurant style? How does this work?
You have access to food pretty much anytime you want it.
Okay.
Great. All types of food. Yeah, I know, right? Now, some things were not open all the time, but like there was always some type of food that was available. And I think the ice cream machine was 24 hours. Like you could go
Of
get
course.
ice cream anytime you wanted.
Sure.
But like, yeah, the buffet had specific times for breakfast, and then there was a little bit of a switchover time to lunch, and then they had spots that were open for breakfast, lunch, breakfast and lunch that were tacos, which
Mhm.
you know me,
Oh,
I'm all
yeah.
tacos, right? Like that was
Yeah.
basically all my photos that I sent you. And then they had a burger place that was open quite a bit, and then we had like our evening like sit down dinners where we actually ate in the dining room.
I'm sorry, this is not relevant. Where did you go to? Where did you cruise to? And where were you cruising from? Where did you,
Yeah.
because you certainly didn't leave from Ohio.
No, no, unfortunately, we have no, unless we go like down the Ohio River into the Mississippi, and then
Yeah, sounds
that'd
fun.
be our only way to get to the ocean. But yeah, so we flew down to Miami, and that was our port, and we left from Miami, and we went to Nassau, Bahamas,
Mhm.
Dominican Republic,
Mhm.
and Grand Turk, which is like a group of islands, a
Yes.
part of a group of islands,
Okay,
and then we back to Miami.
cool. No Caicos.
No Caicos, but I mean Grand Turk is like right there. I think
Yeah.
a part of the Caicos.
Turks and Caicos being
Yeah.
the typical
there you go.
jargon. Okay, so so this was your plan. You were going to follow the blueprint. You knew your servings per meal.
Yep.
The ice cream machine was open 24/7.
Yep.
How did it go?
So it went. I thought it went. I did pretty well given what was in front of me and what I had access to. And so the other part of my goal was to not stress about it either.
Sure.
Right? Like I'm on vacation, but I didn't want to completely just. I didn't want to go crazy and mess up all, because what I will say is after the 16 weeks with you, because we went on a cruise with her family in April, and this was kind of an impromptu cruise. We didn't plan on doing another trip.
Mhm.
And, you know, there was a couple of our friends were going, and they asked us if we wanted to go with them. And we're like, well, we haven't done an adult only trip in forever. I told you, like, my son's about to turn 10, and we haven't been like on a long adult trip since then, basically. So like 10 years. So we were like, all right, we're going to do it. So that was back in the summer, right around the same time that I think I started with you. So, but it wasn't like, that wasn't my motivation. Like, oh, I'm going on vacation, I'm going to, sign up with CBG so I can get, but that was like, oh, okay, well, this timing is going to line up right with the 16 weeks. So I wore the same clothes. Packed the same clothes that I packed, like my cruising, outfits.
Of course, we all have one.
Yeah, exactly. I packed those same clothes that I wore in the springtime, and I packed them for this trip. And after those 16 weeks, they were all very, very loose, much more loose and comfortable fitting.
Love that.
So the other ones were like pretty tight, especially after dinner. You're like, oh man, these are really snug now.
Yeah.
So I felt really comfortable in the clothes. So that was so thank you for that. That was a plus.
Yeah, I love that. Good.
So yeah, I think I started off really good. The tacos was very helpful. Like I ate a lot of the tacos because basically I just counted each tortilla shell, like, and they were they like had like the balls of dough, and they were like making them like fresh, like in this like thing, and it would like flatten them out and cook them and stuff and turn them out. That was pretty cool, and they were really good. So I just counted each one of those as a carb. Like one tortilla was a carb, so it made the counting part of it like super simple. So I'd have 2 or 3 of those and load up on the chicken. I usually would tell them like, hey, extra chicken, please. And that was most of my focus then, was just, I kind of was like, if I always focus on protein as the most, then the rest of the stuff I'll just kind of, because it's hard to, the hardest one was to gauge the fat, right?
Sure.
And I was kind of under the assumption that everything was going to be higher in fat anyways. So I wasn't going to like be focused on getting the fat in, because I'm like, it's going to happen by default. Really, my focus was, what can I cut out that would add more fat? So like the fatty condiments, and going very, very light on the cheese. Went very, very light on the cheese. I love the cheese. And sometimes I didn't get cheese at all either. Like if I was like, hey, there's already enough fat built into this, I got to skip the cheese. I did that a lot with the burgers. I didn't have cheese really on any of my burgers. And so I would do that. Or if I got a burger, I would ask for, I'd get no cheese and I would get 2 of the plain patties. So like each patty I counted as my 2 protein servings. And then
Yeah.
I would load it up with rabbit food, and have tomatoes and lettuce and just as much rabbit food that I could smash on that thing. And so so those were I ate that a lot. And then the biggest thing was probably at the dinners. So I always stayed very comfortable. I felt very light during the day. That was part of my goal too, is I didn't want
Uh-huh.
to eat a bunch of junk and then just feel horrible all day. So
Yeah.
that was the other part of my goal, is like I want to enjoy my vacation and I want to feel good during the vacation. So everything I ate was that in mind, that I'm going to eat light, and I didn't skip any meals. Right? I ate my breakfast. So
Okay.
if it was like I had that same taco place would have breakfast burritos. And so again, that was easy to kind of, think about the number of carbs and protein. And then I would just load up the protein, like give me extra eggs, give me extra chicken in it, whatever I could do. I would skip like the beans and the stuff that was like really cooked in oil that I could tell.
Yep.
And I stayed with as simple as I could. That was kind of my whole thing, was like just keep it super simple. And so during the days I did that, and I felt good after breakfast. I might be slightly still a little hungry after breakfast, but I was okay with it. Like it was like a comfortable level of, I don't know how to describe it, but like,
Yeah. Sometimes I think people don't understand that the opposite of feeling overly stuffed is not hunger.
yeah,
There's a gray area where you're maybe not like, holy shit, I can't eat another bite, but
right.
you're not, still hungry.
Yes. Maybe that's a good way to describe it. Cause it wasn't like, it was, I felt like mentally I could eat more. Like that's where I was in my head, where I'm like, oh, I could go definitely have another 2 tacos if I wanted to. But I'd be like, nah, I'm okay. And then I would make it to lunch and fine. Like it was no big deal. And so I kept all of those things feeling pretty light. I would eat, if I got the burger joint, I would skip mostly the fries. I might have a couple of the fries. They were pretty good fries. But for the most part, I would skip the fries because I knew that was going to be,
Mhm.
they're fried. And so, there's going to be way more fat in the cooked
Yep.
into the fries. So I would eat a little bit of them, but focus mostly on eating all of the burger and whatever. So so it did that throughout the week, and then the dinner times in the evening were really the ones that were the hardest to fit into the blueprint, because it's a set menu. There's only so many things. And again, some of the food's good, right? Like I'm on vacation, I want to eat good food. So but again, I would always focus on the protein side of it. That when I went to dinner, I only focused on the protein side of it. So I would get the meals that sounded the best, that had the highest protein source.
Yeah.
And honestly, the vegetables that came with it, they were okay. I did have green beans, the skinny green beans, that like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking about, like I
They're
call
like the French cut or
yeah,
something.
I call them
Yeah.
fancy green beans, but
Of course you do.
they're fancy in Ohio. So I did have some green stuff. Then I had some green beans,
Good.
and
Yep.
I ate some of that stuff. And then where I deviated and enjoyed the vacation was the dessert, right? So I did have some of the dessert, but I didn't go crazy. Some of the desserts, I didn't even eat all of the desserts. I'd have like, a couple bites of what Candace had, just to try it.
Sure.
And then if mine wasn't that good, if I was like, then I just would be like, I don't want any more of it. And so I would leave the dinners I would leave feeling definitely more full.
Yeah.
But never Friday. Okay, so Friday was the only time that I ate to where I was uncomfortable. Like it was like the last day, and there's two nights that we because they have pizza that's available like late at night.
Of course.
Yeah. So
I live in New York. I'm familiar with the concept.
so there were 2 nights they were playing the World Series on the big screen where the main pool is. So there were 2 nights that we got a couple pieces of pizza, and we would go sit in lawn chairs, and it was actually really nice. Like, and we would like eat our, 1 piece of pizza or whatever, 2 pieces of pizza. and watch the which it was actually pretty decent pizza. If it wasn't good pizza, I wouldn't have had it. And we watched a couple of innings each night of the World Series together, sitting on the deck, and the wind's blowing, and the waves.
That's
On.
nice.
It was like super nice. So I didn't stress about the pizza too much.
Yeah.
And so Friday was the first time where I was like, all right, it's the last day. I had some French toast in the morning, which I hadn't all week. I hadn't had anything like that for breakfast. I did pretty good. Just focusing on mostly eggs and things like that. So I was like, you know what? I got a hankering for some French toast. I tried the first bite because I was like, because sometimes stuff like that, I don't know, buffet style, it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty decent. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna eat this French toast. And really, I think it was only one piece. Like they were like two like half pieces, so it was really like only one slice is what it equaled to. And then ate a big breakfast. So I was like, all right, I don't usually eat a big breakfast like this. I wasn't uncomfortable full from breakfast, but I was like, okay, I may not eat much for lunch. So then we get to lunch and I'm not even really that hungry. I could have gone not ate lunch because I was still full. But it was like the last day for the burgers, and the burgers were really good. So I was like, I had a burger anyways, even though I wasn't that hungry. And then we got to dinner, and I was like, man, I'm full. So but the dinner was pretty good. It was a pretty good dinner too. I think it was I forget what it was on Friday. But I couldn't even eat all of my dinner. Like I ate you could get steak each night, which the steaks were not that good. But it was like it's protein. So if I used the steak as like a supplement of protein if the main courses weren't good.
Sure.
So I had I don't remember what my main course was. So I had that, and then I had some steak, and I was full. And the dessert was really good that night too. And so I think I ate all of my dessert that night. And so I left dinner. That was the only night that I left dinner like, oh yeah, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So really Friday was the only night that I felt like was really out of the plan that I'd planned all week. So yeah, I felt like overall I did pretty good.
Well, it sounds like your number one focus outside of the obvious, right? Staying with the blueprint was not feeling terrible.
Yeah.
And I think that is a concept that a lot of people don't fully understand. Because I think a lot of people walk around feeling terrible all the time. That's just their baseline. That's how they operate. They eat, they feel awful. A couple hours go by, they're hungry, they eat again, they feel awful. And that's the cycle. And when that's what you're doing 24/7, 365, you don't realize that that's not normal, that it's not how you should be feeling. So the fact that you have gotten to a place where you understand that food should not make you feel terrible, it should actually make you feel better. You're now able to have a meal, feel satisfied, maybe not stuffed, but definitely no longer hungry.
Right.
Make sure it's food that is going to fuel you for whatever it is that you're doing that day, and then move on. And so even in a setting where there was everything under the sun imaginable available to you, you were still able to eat something that was going to make you feel good, not be stuffed, and then move on. Because, cruises are tricky because cruises truly can be like all about the food. People go on cruises just to have a week to eat.
Yeah, for
but
sure. There were people
theoretically, going on a vacation, you're not just going to eat, right? Like food is obviously, if you're going to another country or someplace you don't often get to go to, food is a perk. But I've never gone on vacation and thought to myself, God, I can't wait to, sit at a table and eat, because there's other stuff going on, right? Like there's other things you want to do. There are experiences, there's, excursions and things to see and culture to immerse yourself in, or whatever, rides to go on, if that's the kind of ride, vacation you're going on. But all of this to say, if food is not the activity, right? If food is not the purpose of the trip, then you've got to identify what is, and you've got to make choices in food that are going to make you feel good to do those things. Because I've never met anybody who is like, I'm so full, I have to unbutton my pants and be rolled out of here. And I love it. I
Right. I'm
don't
so
regret a
happy that I
thing.
did that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, that's not what it's about. And so I think when you realize that food is supposed to make you feel good, it makes it way easier to make those choices because nobody wants to feel bad. And if you don't realize how bad it feels, because it's been normalized, then you're going to perpetuate that cycle. But there's a better way.
Yeah.
And so I'm really, really glad to hear that. And you know what? Screw it. I'm glad you had one day where you ate the French toast and
Yeah.
you went a little overboard. Like, that's okay. And I think I've said this on this podcast before, but for me and my line of work, Thanksgiving is a tremendous day, right? That's like the reckoning. And everybody freaks out about the amount of food there's going to be at Thanksgiving, and it's going to be so much. And my grandma's making a pie, and then there's going to be turkey, and I love the mashed potatoes, and I can't stop eating the stuffing. And it's like, cool, you can. Go
Yeah.
ahead. It's every other day that we have to be concerned with,
Right.
right? So you going on a cruise and having one day where you went a little overboard, but every other day you were exactly where you were supposed to be. You come home and it's like it never happened. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you had the experience. I'm glad that you were able to feel good on your trip and not feel like a beached whale the whole time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, 'cause
I'm
go ahead.
glad you learned that.
Yeah, and that was a big thing too, is like, even though I did, kind of just go off the rails on Friday, I was glad because I felt that way. I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't do this all week because I
Yeah.
would not have wanted to feel this way because we were pretty active. I mean, we definitely had our relaxed time, which was super nice of just being able to lay around and not think about anything.
Yeah.
But we were pretty active, especially in the ports. Walking around and that kind of. And I was just like sitting there thinking, like, if I was stuffed, I wouldn't have wanted to do this because
Yeah.
the way that, like, if I stuff myself with those type of really highly processed carbs,
Hyper palatable foods.
yeah, like I crash. Like I have like that carb crash where I'm
Yeah.
like all of a sudden I'm like, can't even I'm like, oh, I'm so tired.
No,
Like
it
that's
feels
how my body
terrible.
reacts to that stuff.
Not
Uh,
to mention, now here's my question for you, Joel. You said that you went quote unquote off the rails, right? Or whatever.
mm,
How does that compare? How does current Joel's going off the rails compared to like old Joel's going off the rails? Was it
oh,
equal? Do you feel like you ate the same things in the same amounts that you would have before, or was it a slightly better version?
mm, hmm. I think I would say slightly better in that um I didn't go back for seconds for breakfast on the
Mhm.
breakfast buffet. I could tell that I was getting pretty full because again, I focused more on eggs. I still ate more eggs than anything else. And so I probably, yeah, like in the springtime, I would have gone back and gotten more French toast and more, maybe had a bowl because they had all the cereal there too. And I never have like any kind of like of that sugar cereal usually.
Mhm.
So I might have had a bowl of cereal, or I would have definitely loaded up more. I would have gone back again for another trip
Yeah.
on breakfast.
And this
So
is the
that,
thing I want people to understand. You can go online and get a nutrition guide, right? You can get your macros for whatever your goals are. But if you actually want to learn how to eat right and listen to your body's cues and create this like intuition that is going to help guide you, and have somebody in your corner for accountability, right? Like, then you need something like this because this is not just, I had a piece of paper that told me I needed to eat 2 servings of protein at every meal. So I did that. You actually went into this with a better mindset,
yeah,
with more education, with a better sense of what it is that you wanted and needed. So I just am so proud of you. And I'm really,
yeah,
really glad to hear that because it's a lifestyle thing. It's just a different way of thinking and looking at it. And you don't get that from going to www.givememymacros so I
yeah,
can lose some weight.net, you know?
right. Well, and it kind of like what Emma said earlier too, in how it changed her total mindset on, she had to unlearn of tracking macros. And so there were things that I had to learn too about how my body reacts to certain food. And it was like in that moment, there was like my brain was like, oh, I want more of this. But I just kept reminding myself, like, no, Like, I don't need that. I'm okay. Like, I'm like, yes, I could make room for more. I could stand up and do the, you know, a little bounce, you know, to kind of move it down.
I've never heard that in my whole life.
Oh, you never
But
seen like the competitive eaters? They like bounce and it like,
no,
yeah, like moves
that's
all that stuff down to
psychotic.
get more. Yeah. So, but yeah, like, so my mindset was different through the week, but I didn't feel, I still enjoyed it. You know, I didn't stress about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I took the stairs as much as I could too. Like, you know, I thought about it that way. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
you
listen,
know,
going on a cruise is not the time to decide to work on your athleticism. You know what I mean? Do the best you can. Like, I always love when people are like, hey, so I'm leaving for vacation tomorrow and I'm really going to be dedicated. It's like, listen, no, you're not.
yeah.
Like,
Don't
and
set
that's
yourself up
fine.
for failure. Yeah.
Yeah, but please, let's not kid ourselves. You know, but having the right mindset and having a good understanding of, you know, how you're going to approach something like a buffet or a, you know, all you can eat situation is like, that's the right stuff.
Yeah.
Saying I'm going to run 10 miles every day, that's like, don't.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Oh, the other thing that was different, about this time was I only went for tried the frozen yogurt. They had the ice cream machine. I
Mhm.
only went to the ice cream machine one time the whole week, because it didn't, honestly, the soft serve stuff is just not that good. I had like little, they would bring like little things of like scoops of ice cream with your dessert
You
at dinner
prefer
time.
that over the soft serve? Are you okay?
This soft serve was not real soft serve. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like
Oh,
this cheap version of soft serve, right? Because it's open all the time. Like, they're not going to put the good stuff in there. But they had this
okay.
frozen yogurt that was like half chocolate, half strawberry. So I was like, "Oh, I'll try that."
Mm.
I took 2 bites of it. It was not that good, and I got rid of it.
Mm.
So that was
Isn't it interesting how the more that in touch you get with like what you actually like and what you
yeah,
need, the more that you're willing to be like, this doesn't taste good? Because I would venture to say that at some point you would have been like, I'm eating the whole thing and I don't even know why.
yeah, exactly.
Um, it's like it's sweet, so therefore I will engorge myself on it.
100% would have been like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. The best dessert though, and I only ate 1 serving of it. This is evidence of my new discipline and my new mindset of freedom from it, right?
Mhm.
The tiramisu, oh my goodness. It was the best dessert. Um, there was one there was a couple other ones that were really good, but I think the tiramisu was my favorite because I like coffee.
Uh-huh.
And they had that same dessert at the buffet at the like later that night too. Like, I don't know if it's like leftover or I don't know what.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Candace was like, the tiramisu's at the buffet, and I was like, "Oh, are you serious?" I could have had as much tiramisu as I wanted. I could have thrown up on tiramisu. But I
Love
was
it.
like, "Hey, I enjoyed my 1 serving of it. It was delicious. I enjoyed it. It was great. That's all I need. I don't need
Yeah.
to make myself feel miserable by tiramisu." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's
I
another difference in mindset.
I'm really proud of you. You know, I watched this video. I can't stop talking about this. So of course it's coming up right now. But I watched this video at the end of last week and I actually sent it out to all of my clients and was like, homework due on Monday. Watch this video. And I think most of them have. And it was a video about willpower. And it references this book that I have since bought, which is called The Way to Willpower by Henry Hazlitt. And this YouTuber, her name is Kiana Doherty. I really like her and her content. She read the book and she's talking about willpower. And she explains via the book by Henry Hazlitt that willpower is not what we think it is. Willpower is not our ability to force ourselves to do or not do something, but rather willpower is our ability to execute continuing to focus on our long-term goal and sort of delay gratification versus like the short-term gratification.
Yeah.
So for example, you sort of saying, I don't want to have the tiramisu again because I already had it and it was good because my long-term goal is to not feel like crap.
Right.
And then where does that sort of stem from, right? What's the next layer? And the next layer to that is that we are all sort of on a journey to be the best version of ourselves, right? We all want to be a sort of character who would behave in a way that we think is idyllic. And so willpower then at its like greatest source is our ability to behave in the way that the idealized version of us would behave. So in this instance, you wanted to be the type of person who doesn't have to unbutton their pants at the end of every meal and lay down and take a nap
Right.
because you've eaten so much that you feel like shit.
Yeah.
So you actually were able to exercise that and be that type of person. And as they say, you kind of got to fake it till you make it, and you continue to behave that way until that behavior is just second nature.
Yeah.
And so congratulations to you for exercising incredible willpower and for being that type of person that you want to be. And congratulations to me for being able to bring it up again, because I can't stop talking about this.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end it in today's show. So thanks Gab for helping me be looser in my clothes on the cruise, and for all of those 16 weeks that helped me still enjoy my cruise and still enjoyed the food, but also enjoyed all the activities because I wasn't in a food coma the entire time. So
Yeah. Very
so I
proud of you.
appreciate that. So take that, Erica. Okay. Not an
Yeah.
idiot.
Yeah, Erica. Why don't you come over here and say it to my face? Hopefully I'm stronger than you. I'm hedging my bets.
All right, y'all. That's what we got for you for this week. We will be back not next Monday. We will be back, I think, actually next Thursday.
Yep.
But we have it's going to be our first CBG athlete that we're going to get to interview. So that'll be fun. And it'll be it'll be after, this is a Rogue athlete, someone competing at Rogue this week. So we'll get to talk to them about their travel and what nutrition was like for them traveling. I think that'll be a fun little bit. And then we'll get to, talk about Rogue and all the fun stuff. So we will see you next time. So I'm Joel, and for Gab, thanks for being with us, and we'll catch you